I'm here at the house of Abshalom, one of my very good friends. I wanted to interview him today, so I'm here at his door. I don't know if he can hear me because, of course, he's playing the saxophone. On the door, you see blessed benevolence. One of the first words that you'll hear come from his mouth. So let's ring the doorbell. There we go. The music stops. He's on his way. It's Mahaleyah.
Okay. Peace and blessings. Shalom, shalom.
Hello, hello.
Come on in.
Shalom.
Buckle up. Be careful here. Come on.
All right.
Tight space.
Okay, we're here today, and I was telling our audience that your house is a treasure trove of information.
Toda, yeah, toda.
Yes, and as we look around, we can see that this is like another dimension that you're entering. And Abshalom is going to give us a tour. Okay?
Feel free with your questions.
Okay, well maybe we can start here. This is Abshalom's kitchen. But as you can see, it is not off limits when it comes to displaying many of the works and the memorabilia of his past. Okay, now this huge picture here, now who is this a picture of?
That's Ben Israel, the spiritual personage for the African Identic Hebrew Israelite community here at Jerusalem.
Okay, that's a nice picture. Okay, is there anything else that you want to show us in particular? I see you've got, this looks like Cool in the Gang.
Yeah, it was when Brother Cool came up to Israel. He's a good friend of mine, and we spent some quality time together, and he blessed me with a nice photograph.
That is nice, very nice.
This is when Minister Farrakhan came to Israel. I befriended him, and we spent hours discussing music. You know, he's a master musician in terms of a violinist. This was a letter of appreciation that he sent me back at that time. The other pieces that we have is here in Paris with some very renowned friends of ours. The David Murray Octet at that time. David Murray I happened to be in Paris performing myself. That's David Murray to the right. My good friend Rasul Sadiq sitting next to me with the shades on. Great James Spalding on my left. And the drummer, come on man, Andrew Surreal.
Okay.
Brother Andrew Surreal there.
Mm-hmm.
This is presented to us for performing at the Ghanaian anniversary of independence. We were blessed to have a band to play for the independence. The ambassador at that time presented us with that. This is the great Billy Cobham when we were blessed to bring him down to Dimona.
Is that this picture here?
This is the picture here. This is Billy Cobham. That's myself. Shalemi about Israel. Ben Kesset in the back.
Okay, that's Billy Cobham.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
This is in Accra, Ghana, at a village where my brother at that time, he has made transition, unfortunately.
Oh, and he
had
handsome.
A health resort, Dr. Nate, and he was very inspirational for me while some changes that I was experiencing being in Ghana.
Mm-hmm.
He was like a mentor and a healer for me.
Okay. Okay. Very good.
So those are a few things. Got some other interesting shots here.
Right, right. Well, come on in this other living space, and you can, I mean, there is literally, it's like a museum here.
That's my father.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh. All right, that's a very nice photo.
That's his father, which is my grandfather.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's his wife, which is my grandmother. That's my father's mother. Ella Mae Pumphrey. Ella Mae. Queen Mother Ella Mae.
Ella Mae
Pumphrey.
Wonderful.
This is my great-great-great-great-great-grandfather.
Now that is really something.
Born a slave
Let us get it.
in
Try to get
Virginia
it
in 1845. He was born a slave. My father dug all this out. I think my father was inspired by the changes that I was going through. This is my mother. That's my Ima.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let me try to get it close up there. Okay. Okay, that's
This is me with the AACM in Chicago in 1966. A shot of me with the AACM, 1966.
Mm-hmm. Now I'm getting some glare. I don't know.
Okay.
Let me try to position myself so I don't have so much glare. Yeah.
How is that?
Okay, I think that's a little bit better.
Okay, and this is me,
Mm-hmm. Very nice.
my Lord Fauntleroy.
I think everybody back in the day took a picture with that outfit on.
And that's my tribe, the clan, the Ben Shlomo clan.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure they'll love you putting this on YouTube.
That's the Ben Shlomo clan.
Oh, okay.
This is a treasure for me. I had the occasion to be in Jerusalem with a conference with the great James Moody, and I took a contingency of music students that I had at that year.
Mm-hmm.
And James Moody personally did some tutoring and talking to them. This was sponsored by my good friend and mentor Arnie Lawrence. He was responsible for bringing James Moody here at that time, so I got this.
Mm-hmm. Okay, wonderful.
There's I was looking at another collector's item I have up on the wall.
Well, by all means, show it to us.
That's how we're going to get to it. You're going to have to come around. I was in...
Okay, Abshalom, now what is this that we're looking at now?
This is a letter of appreciation from Rita Marley. We were invited to play for her birthday celebration in Aburi in Ghana. That was during a season that I was stationed in Ghana.
Mm-hmm. So this is Bob Marley's sister?
His wife, Rita
His
Marley.
wife, sorry.
We performed for her birthday celebration. It was a massive, that's the band that I had. I had a Ghanaian band at that time while I was in Ghana. We did several engagements.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Independence Day celebration we did for Ghana. That's the ambassador, another diplomat, the ambassador's wife, first secretary, and myself, and another letter, a little note of appreciation from the ambassador at that time.
Uh-huh. Okay.
This is, we performed for Panafest as well in Ghana,
Mm-hmm.
which is a big festival that they have biannually, I think, at this time. I'm not sure.
Okay, so you spent a lot of time in Ghana.
Yeah, a lot of time. As a matter of fact, I was a part of the Ghana Jazz Society.
Mm-hmm.
It went defunct. Other than that, I would still no doubt be a part and
Okay.
a member, active member of the Ghana Jazz Society.
Okay. All right. Okay, now are you going to take us into your laboratory now?
Yeah, we can move that way. Let's see. This is the music studio.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
Uh-huh. Okay. We're in for a treat.
practice, and this was an instrument that my dad started me with. And so I've gone back. I haven't been with it for some years, but I'm getting back into it. And this is my other love, the alto. So we're getting ready to do some recordings. So this is part of our collection and part of the library and other somethings. This is where we are.
Okay. All right. How about your garden? I am dying to see your garden.
Well, it's not my garden. And how it's referred to is the Arad Senior Brother Agricultural Development Project.
Oh, excuse me.
I just happen to be a senior brother and on the land, looking to expand out as part of our divine inheritance on the land. So I want to read something concerning that from the scriptures too.
Okay. Well, let's get a shot of the garden.
Okay.
And then we'll come back
farm.
to that. The farm. All right.
Yeah, let me put on my sunrise stuff.
Oh, this is Sun Ra?
That's my sunrise hat. That's what I'm doing.
Okay. Can I ask you a question, Abshalom? That was beautiful. Now tell us, what is this magnificent outfit that you're wearing?
Well, we were blessed to be invited by the Sun Ra Orchestra to perform in Switzerland and in Italy last year, and this is part of the cultural costume designs that each one of us had individually, each one of the performers. It was an ensemble of 25 individuals, including dancers, poets, and the tone scientists, as Sonny would say. So this happened to be my regalia.
I love it because it's one of my favorite colors. It is green and gold.
This was the color that I chose because green for prosperity, opulence, and abundance. So everybody had an opportunity to choose whatever color that they wanted, and so I said I want green. And so we had some major costume designers. They came from Germany, and they had designed and did everything. So
that is magnificent. Can you tilt your head down just a little so they can see that all of the gold that's that is fantastic. Great! Israel. Here we are with Abshalom.
It's true.
And what are these that you're picking? You're in.
Watch the holes right there.
Okay.
This is the Arad Senior Brotherhood Agricultural Development Project. And these are Swiss chard. These are what I know here. Well, that's what we call them. I think here in Israel they call them marigold. This is what the leaves look like.
Okay.
You can cook them or either you can eat them live. So choice, the selection is up to you. They're beginning to go to seed now. So you got to get them. And we're going to redo everything here in terms of what we intend on planting. Because the weather's changing. You see how hot it is. It's warming up. Spring has sprung. So.
Very good. That's going to be some good eating there. Okay, so Abshalom, what is this bush that you have over here?
These are my eggplant.
Ah, Oh, let me try to get in closer. Okay.
Hey!
Quite the farm. Oh, you have to be careful.
Hey!
They have little what like what would you call that? Not
Protectors.
yeah, not exactly thorns, but it's very
Protectors.
bristly.
Well, early on, we were eating the leaves. I ate the greens.
Let's get a shot of that eggplant. Beautiful.
I'll give you one more. This is the first one that I've plucked. So you blessed. Hey!
Be careful. That's going to be yummy, yummy, yummy. And anything that you see that has this much melanin or this much pigment in it is full of iron and it's very good for you. Now, do you make the eggplant spread?
I surely do.
Eggplant spread is very, very good. Now, is this as big as it's going to get this season, or are these out of season?
Larger, but they're going, so you
Okay.
can work with them.
Okay. Can you just put those in my bag? I'm taking all of these goodies home. Thank you. Hello, we're back again with Abshalom, or Brother Abshalom. We're in his fabulous home, which is like a museum. And basically, Abshalom is going to talk about his life. We're going back to the beginning, the early years. So, what is it you want to say about the early years?
When we say early years, that's tremendous. First and foremost, I'm emotionally inspired by your desire to take time out from what you do, and you're a very blessed person, to make inquiry relative to ourself. As I was showing you some pictures from grammar school, 1951, 1957, 1956, in Chicago, and that would be a whole nother scenario, a whole nother story in terms of me going back to say about my life story, in terms of growing up on the west side to a certain degree. The west side of Chicago, 2139 West Roosevelt Road, right across the street from the Audi home, from anybody that's familiar with Chicago. And then I rejoined my biological father in 1957. He had remarried. Traumatic times for me as a youngster growing up. Traumatic times. And then coming up in the Inglewood area district, 6409 South Carpenter. See, all these numbers are impregnated in our subconscious. It's coming out willfully at this point as we attempt to share this, because we feel and know that it's important. We went to Inglewood High School. My dad, great father, and those of you all that don't know the blessings of having a father, you're missing something, but you be blessed, and you, I'm sure, are. My dad sent me and sponsored me in barber college. I said, I don't want to be no barber. I didn't become a barber, but he said, hey son, you can always have $1 in your pocket, and he was true. I learned how to cut. I did very well in barber college. I was the youngest guy there at 15. McCoy Barber College in Chicago, down on 31st Street. Anybody listening in that's at that age module would know where McCoy Barber College was. And he invested in me going to Sherwood Music School, where he started me with the clarinet at the age of 12. And I'm indebted, and I'm back with it, the clarinet. Moving along forward, there's so much to say in terms of growing up in Chicago, the spiritual center of the U.S. Again, we had stated it on other presentations that we had done with you. It's no coincidence that Noble Drew Ali was from there, Elijah Muhammad, Ben Ami from the Hebrew community, our dearly beloved brother, Minister Farrakhan, and so many, many more that we could speak to. Gwendolyn Brooks, Oscar Brown Jr., Captain Diet down at DuSable, all the cats that he had produced, Nat King Cole, and I can't go into all of it. Chicago, I mean, remains a spiritual center, even in amidst of all the turmoil, the closing of the schools, the murder capital at this point. It's only to say, as I can perceive it in my neuro-linguistical programming, it's time for our people to come out, psychologically and physiologically. There has to be a place to go both places, psychologically and physiologically. So, man, I want to move past what we did. I want to get into something else in terms of being here, how I got here. I followed a great follower, and he was a follower, and he's a great leader and a motivational inspiration in my life, Brother L.A. Bryant, 4340 Cottage Grove in Chicago. He remains a motivation to me relative to if anybody else in this community deals with it or not. This community, I'm saying the Hebraic community here in Jerusalem and abroad, the teachings that we received at that time, fundamental teachings, and I want to read something, several things. I'm quoting from the scriptures. This is not me saying this. I'm just reading a quote that was written by the Holy One of Israel. Genesis, Bereshit, Sloshis-Ray, the 13th chapter of Genesis at the 14th verse. And the Lord said unto Avram, after Lot was separated from him, lift up now thine eyes, and look from the place where thou art, northward and southward and eastward and westward. For all the land which thou seest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed forever. I want to take a few moments to share a few overviews relative to my experience of having been blessed to see Coltrane, Master, Mr. John Coltrane in Chicago. McKee's Disc Jockey Lounge was the first time I saw him. I was working at a steel mill, as I remember correctly, U.S. Steel, and I went to see, I was working afternoon shift, and I got off, living in the Avon building in Chicago, if anybody knows anything about that. Went to see Train at McKee's. He had the, at that time, the traditional quartet, Elvin on drums, Jimmy Garrison on bass, McCoy on piano, and himself. McKee's was packed. And youngsters, anyway, this guy came in with a bass, and I just want to interject this. I didn't know who he was, and the cats were saying, oh man, that's Donald Garrett. Well, Donald Garrett had left Chicago. He had moved out to California. This is a shot of Donald Garrett that I got from somebody. I don't know if you want to use it to highlight or however you want to use it. Anyway, Donald Garrett, Raphael Garrett, he did some recordings with Train. He said Mama, I think, and some other things. Anyway, it was mind-blowing. Next time I saw Train was at McKee's again, the second time. And when I walked in, I just happened to be up on 63rd Street hanging out that night. And I saw the banner outside of McKee's Disc Jockey Lounge. And it said John Coltrane and Company. So I said, Dad, let me go in and see what's happening. So I don't even think I had to pay yet to buy a drink at the bar. I stood at the door. I walked in, and I saw these horns laying on the bandstand. I'm like, who is that? It was another horn player. It was Reggie Workman, and it wasn't no piano, and it was Elvin. Come to find out it was Eric Dolphy. It was my first and only time ever seeing Eric Dolphy. And boy, you talking about did they smoke? I mean, the impression, we were younger at that time, but I mean, hearing, it was overwhelming. And I have to interject this at this point. I'll say it again, and you have to remind me. Sound has the inherent power of producing the promised effect. Sound has the inherent power of producing the promised effect. Sound has the inherent power of producing the promised effect. So, last time I saw Train was up on the north side in Old Town. That's what it was called. Was it at Mother Blues? Or was that one might not have been Mother Blues, because I've been there a long time. Forget the name of these clubs because I'm out of Chicago now. Anyway, Train had a different ensemble. And at that time it was Jack DeJohnette on drums. He had two drummers. It was Rashid Ali. He had his wife, his Isha with him, Alice. It was him, and it was Pharaoh, Saunders, and him in Chicago. It was overwhelming again. Train was... And then our locals, he allowed to sit in. Roscoe Mitchell had the courage in Roscoe Mitchell. He allowed Roscoe to sit in with him, so that was a dynamics.
Okay, but how do you define his music?
Now, Coltrane is a special soul. Coltrane to me is an infinite eternal consciousness of Yahweh, Yireh El Shaddai Sevaot. He came here to inspire, motivate, uplift, create, and share the positive attributes of the characteristics of, if you want to say, God. Because Coltrane was constantly searching. As my research reveals, he didn't have land, language, and culture, which is what we're blessed with here in terms of being Hebrew Israelites here in the land of Israel, Jerusalem. He was the impetus that inspired us to search. He was searching, he was looking, he desired land. The music that he played was motivational. It was creative, it was uplifting, and inspirational.
You can say that you can...
I would say Coltrane is an immortal, eternal, conscious spirit being, because he's invested in certain of us. His righteousness shall and is being resurrected here in Jerusalem, because it's in me. He's in me. He lives through me.
What sets his music apart from other artists? How do you define his music?
In terms of directions and the fortitude, his courage to, when he was being downplayed as being a radical and everything negative was being said, he stood. There were no coincidences, excuse me, that his initials were JC. Jesus Christ, John Coltrane, a leader, a provocative individual. He checked out 1967, the same year that the community left Chicago and went into Liberia, 1967. All of these are profound occurrences and incidences for me. Radical change. He was about radical change. Coltrane, John Coltrane, his sound, his motivation, his direction, the concepts that he was producing in terms of the song titles, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. What was he attempting to say? Where was he being moved by the Holy Spirit? He was being moved by the Holy Spirit. to uplift, motivate, create, and inspire, and to share the attributes of the Holy One. Yahweh Yireh El Shaddai Tsevaot. I'll say that. He couldn't say it. I can say it through his inspiration that he has given me. John Coltrane lives. Nasi Shalig lives. Sun Ra lives in their righteousness in terms of my involvement with them. They're Holy Spirits.
And Sun Ra?
It's after the end of the world. Don't you know that yet? It's after the end of the world. Don't you know that yet? The possible has been done. I came to do the impossible. Sun Ra was speaking to another world, other realities. He was sent to this dimension to proclaim in the physical form that he represented. It's after the end of the world. African American musicians and music created a radical alternative to the values of Western civilization. African American music, whether it be jazz, blues, rock and roll, gospel, soul, hip hop, has always expressed, consciously or not, its African heritage, reflecting the conditions of an imprisoned black African culture in the midst of a quote-unquote white power structure. It represents a radical challenge to Western Eurocentric civilization and its traditions. Sound has the inherent power to produce the promised effect. Music, therefore, reflects the general characteristics of the society. Ever since the reign of Eurocentric civilization and the influence of the Greco-Roman cultural systems, both thought and language have been used to effectively control and alter man's spiritual and physical development. Consciousness, that is. Sun Ra truly represents a very high form of conscious creation sent to this dimension and earth plane to share a very positive level of creating and enlightenment.
Okay, Abshalom, can you speak a little to your experiences in Ghana, and how did you end up in Ghana?
Well, to make a long story short, Ben Ami selected myself and my wife Mahaleyah to go and oversee the only all-first, all-vegan health resort, a fabulous place in West Coast, Cape Coast, Ghana. So we were the overseers. We had a staff crew of 18 personnel, including gardeners, landscapers, and the whole works in terms of cooks, house personnel, and everything, drivers. That was the first for me. I had never had a staff that I had to oversee a magnitude of 18 individuals. We had to make sure they got paid, made sure the grounds and everything was kept up, make sure that we did everything. So this was the first, and we were there for the first opening. So that was how we got there. 2000. In 2000, Aliyah, my wife, Maisha, my devoted spiritual connection for 45 years, Aliyah. So,
did you have an opportunity to delve in any music? Was it?
Well, when Ben Ami sent me there, he said, "This is not a musical project for you. However, if you get an opportunity to play some music, you can do that. So yeah, I did. I would do some things. I'd sneak out, but I was very strict in terms of his command. And I met a great bunch of musicians. I did a lot of recording in Ghana, some which I have here. I met a lot of personnel in Cape Coast. I became a regional director with the Ghana Tourist Board there, working with the health ministry as well, and also with the health resort that we had. I became a qualified therapist for massage and chemotherapy. I was doing all of that as well as being the project manager for that project. So yeah, it was a great experience. I met a lot of great people, still in contact with a little bit. We did major radio. We had 3 major radio programs that we did. I still have disc of all of that information, so it's not like, something that's void. So yeah.
How did you come in contact with Bob Marley's wife?
Well, I had a spiritual son that lived in Aburi at that time. He had a big mansion up there. Eliad was his name. He was out of Detroit. He had married a young Ghanaian, so he had a family. So we were staying. I had a wife at that time also, and a small son, which I still have a small son. She's not my wife at this time. And we heard about what was going on at the studio. Rita Marley had built a multi-million-dollar studio right there on the road at Ibri. So we went to see about it, and they wanted, it was still in process. So they found out I was from Israel. That was a high point. So they said, well, you're a Yah man. I said, yeah, I'm for, no, they said, you're a Jah man. I said, yeah, I'm for Yah. And so they found out I was doing music, and they wanted me to perform, do some work in the studio. So it was still under construction. So they said, her secretary at that time said, so she's getting ready to do a major affair, and we're getting the mansion ready for her. So I said, I want to go see. So they took me up to the mansion, swimming pool and everything. It wasn't immaculately laid out. It had gone to trot because it hadn't been maintained. It was downscale. So they were working night and day to bring it all up because Rita was coming to Ghana, and she was going to have her birthday celebration there. So I looked around, and I wanted to bring one of my brothers, several of my brothers from Israel that I knew that did major landscaping, and they said, well, we can't afford it right now because of everything we're involved in here in Ghana. And then so I said, okay. So they said, what we'll do, since we understand that you got a band. No, that ain't where that went. Her secretary stayed in touch with me. So when Rita got in, the secretary sent for me. She said, I want you to meet Mrs. Marley. So I was staying that far down the road, so we took a taxi, me and my small boy, my son. So we went up to the house, up to the studio. So when we got there, Rita finished up. She was dealing with some Europeans. They were there interviewing her and doing something. So she said, come in, my brother. At the studio, very lusciously laid out. Please, I don't even tell you. So laid. Garden and farmland. Rita was just a gracious, abundantly, benevolently prosperous sister and a giving, loving sister. So she says, who's the small boy? I said, it's my son. She says, he's a handsome young man. So we started talking. So she says, I'm having my birthday celebration here this year. So she continued to talk. I said, when's your birthday? She said, July 25th. I said, oh, that's 2 days before his. She said, hey, are you serious, brother? She said, his birthday is the 23rd of July. She says, by all means, you have to be here, my special guest. Bring who you want to bring. I said, well, I got a band. She said, I'm sponsoring everything. You are taking care of your transportation. I'll pay you. I'll do everything. And bring, but the small boy is my guest. This is my birthday gift. And so my son was her special. And that's when you see, we got it documented. Did it say? The Rita Marley Foundation. So we were her guests based on my son. So that's how we got to perform for Rita Marley's birthday celebration at that time. Earth Day celebration, as we say. Rita Marley, a gracious sweetheart.
What are you doing now, Abshalom, in terms of your music, and what is it that you are producing? And
We all right. I'm just being natural. I'm at home right now, getting ready for the holy day, close out. So, anyway.
you gonna answer the question?
Yeah, we just being real natural, so everybody don't think that this is no.
No, it's okay. But I am interested in knowing what you're doing now.
Well, as you see in the studio, I got 4 compositions. Actually, I'm upscaled it to 5. I'm preparing to go into Jerusalem to do some major recording with some friends, some brothers, to record these other 5 compositions. I'm really looking at self-development at this point relative to the time parameters where we are in terms of this dimension and dispensation. This dimension and dispensation of change, awareness, consciousness, and blessed benevolence. So after having been here, I've done the 40 years in the wilderness. So I'm moving closer and forward more so to Yahweh Yireh El Shaddai Tzavah Borei Yaakov in terms of what I love to do and what I've been commissioned to do in this dispensation, in this dimension, and in this realm known as Earth, as Sun Ra would say, in this dispensation.